The sun was already dipping low across the city skyline when Richard Kane, a wealthy businessman in his late 40s, left his office with a nervous excitement he hadn't felt in years. His secretary, a much younger woman named Clara, walked beside him, smiling coyly as they wheeled their luggage toward the waiting car. Richard had built a life of luxury, a mansion, expensive cars, and a devoted wife, Emily, who had stood by him for 20 years. But somewhere along the way, he had let boredom creep in. He began to crave the thrill of secrecy, of danger. Clara had become that thrill. And tonight, he was whisking her away on a surprise vacation to an exotic island. "Are you sure no one will know?" Clara asked softly, gripping his arm. Richard chuckled. "I told Emily it was a business trip. She believes me. She always does." Clara giggled, though uneasiness flickered in her eyes. At the private airport, the air smelled faintly of jet fuel and fresh rain. A sleek private plane waited for them, gleaming under the floodlights. Richard felt powerful. This was his escape, his secret world. He ushered Clara inside with a flourish, feeling almost untouchable. But as they stepped onto the aircraft, a voice came from the cockpit. Calm, steady, professional. "Welcome aboard, Mr. Kane. I'll be your pilot tonight." Richard froze. That voice, he knew it. His heart thudded painfully as Emily, his wife, stepped out of the cockpit, dressed in a crisp pilot's uniform, her expression unreadable. Clara's face drained of color. Richard's throat went dry. Emily's eyes scanned them both, lingering on Clara before settling firmly on Richard. Her voice was cool, controlled. "Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a long flight." For the first hour, silence hung in the cabin like a storm waiting to break. Clara sat stiff, staring at her hands. Richard couldn't meet Emily's eyes. He kept telling himself she didn't know, maybe it was a coincidence, maybe she'd taken this job last minute. But deep down, he knew. Halfway through the flight, turbulence rocked the plane. Clara squealed and clutched Richard's arm, while Emily's voice came calmly over the intercom, guiding them through the rough skies. Her authority, her strength, it was undeniable. Richard had forgotten this side of her. The woman who had once flown him across the world when he couldn't even afford a ticket and coach. The woman who had sacrificed her career to raise their children while he built his empire. When the skies finally cleared, Emily stepped into the cabin, her eyes no longer calm but burning with restrained hurt. "So this is your business trip?" she asked, her voice trembling between fury and sorrow. Richard opened his mouth, but no excuse came. Clara shifted uncomfortably, whispering, I should go." Emily's gaze snapped to Clara, but her anger softened slightly. "You're young, maybe naive, but he's my husband, and you deserve to know the truth. He built this life with me. I carried him through years of failure. And now, he thinks he can throw it all away for a vacation fling." Clara's eyes filled with tears. Without another word, she grabbed her bag and moved to the back of the plane. Emily turned back to Richard. For the first time in years, he saw not the gentle, patient wife he'd taken for granted, but the strong, fearless pilot who once inspired him. "You forgot who I am," she whispered. "But I never forgot who you were. You were a dreamer, Richard. A fighter, and somewhere along the way, you became a man I don't even recognize." The words pierced deeper than any accusation. Richard's chest tightened, shame crashing over him like a tidal wave. He thought of the nights Emily stayed awake, helping him with proposals, encouraging him when he wanted to quit. He thought of her laughter, her kindness, the countless sacrifices she had made without asking for anything in return. Tears blurred his vision. "Emily, I'm sorry. I lost myself. I lost us." For a long moment, Emily said nothing. Then she sighed, her shoulders slumping as the anger gave way to something softer, weariness, sorrow, maybe even a faint spark of hope. "Words are easy, Richard. Actions are what count." The plane touched down hours later. Clara slipped quietly away into the night, her silhouette swallowed by the terminal lights. Richard remained, his gaze fixed on Emily as she removed her cap and stepped down onto the runway. In that moment, he made a choice. The vacation, the thrill, the selfish chase of something new, it was nothing compared to the woman who had carried him through storms, both in the sky and in life. Richard followed Emily, not as a CEO, not as a man of wealth, but as a husband desperate to win back the only treasure that truly mattered. And as the dawn broke over the horizon, painting the sky in gold and rose, Richard vowed silently, he would spend every day proving that he had learned the hardest lesson of all. That love is not about showing off, not about thrill or conquest, but about loyalty, respect, and remembering who was there when no one else believed. So, if you ever forget what really matters, remember this story. True wealth isn't measured in money, or luxury, or secret vacations, it's measured in the love we honor, the trust we protect, and the people we refuse to let go. And if this story touched your heart, don't forget to subscribe, for more tales that remind us of what really makes us rich.